In episode 1, we considered the structures associated with the avian respiratory system. This leads us on to how these structures actually function within the system to ventilate the lungs. Imagine that the respiratory system has been bisected down the middle and turned on its side, much like a cross-section that you might see in the lab. As mentioned in episode 1, the backwardmost abdominal and thoracic air sacs can be grouped and referred to as posterior air sacs, indicated here in blue. And the forwardmost interclavicular and cervical air sacs can also be grouped as anterior air sacs, indicated in yellow. And if we imagine that the trachea and the lungs have also been bisected, we now gain a cross-sectional view inside the respiratory system. Now let's take a look at the respiratory cycle that takes place in the avian system, which can be summarised in 4 stages. First is inspiration 1. Anterior and posterior air sacs both expand, increasing the volume of the air sacs and decreasing the internal pressure. This creates negative pressure, causing air to move down the trachea. It's important to notice here that air bypasses the anterior air sacs and moves directly to the back of the system to the posterior air sacs. The direction of airflow along this route is mediated by aerodynamic valves. The next phase is known as expiration 1. Air sacs contract as a result of muscular movements, forcing air out of the posterior air sacs and into the lungs. The air enters the lungs via small air passages and is pushed through a network of air tubes known as parabronchi. Notice the addition of a cross-section inside these parabronchi, depicted here in pink. As the air passes through the parabronchi within the lungs, oxygen diffuses into the blood capillaries surrounding the parabronchi, just as waste carbon dioxide passes out of the bloodstream and into the air. The third phase of ventilation is referred to as inspiration 2. Air sacs expand once again, creating a negative pressure draw of now stale air from the parabronchial lungs into the front set of anterior air sacs. The fourth and final phase of the ventilatory process is expiration 2. Air sacs compress once again, forcing the stale air out of the anterior air sacs through the primary bronchi and passing back up through the trachea and out of the body via the nasal cavity. To summarise, if we watch the sequence of airflow altogether, you can see that this system creates continuous and unidirectional airflow through the lungs. This means the lungs are constantly fed with fresh, oxygen-rich air, resulting in highly efficient gas exchange in the parabronchial lung.